Testing. One, two, three. Oh, all right, guys, what's up? I'm back here tonight with some good news on the big, beautiful bill that's been passed. They passed it. Took some convincing, took some coaxing, but it went back to the Senate, and Trump will be signing it tomorrow, just like they planned. They wanted it to happen. They wanted it to happen on the 4th of July. Trump said there's going to be a big extravaganza. It's going to happen at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. There's going to be fireworks culminating all of it. And so some people bitching about it. I've seen some libertarians angry. They're always angry. Some conservatives, they say, "Oh, there's really not even a spending increase. It's the extended tax cuts from the 2017 tax cuts that Trump originally gave." And then they're spending an F ton on ICE and border enforcement. I mean, we're spending more on deportation efforts and ICE than most countries spend on their military. Thomas Massey getting primaried. Looks like Elon backed down. Well, that's another thing. What is Elon going to do? Is he going to waste a bunch of money on that party? He really shouldn't do that. Thanks for taking my question on your Q&A video. Waiting for your hit sing. Yeah, we want your resources. We love you. Why didn't you answer my question on how you're secretly a Massey supporter in your Q&A? Well, I mean, there were 200 questions. I only answered 25. So you probably didn't get to yours if you asked it. AOC having a meltdown. They're all having a meltdown. You know, a lot of it's fake. I mean, think about Hakeem Jeffries. You kind of got to feel bad for him. He's forced to go up there, and they're like, you better go up there, and you better filibuster for 8 hours or however long. You got to set the new record, just like Cory Booker. I mean, it's all these people. They get like little, it's like dog treats for standing up to Trump. And it's all this fake thing, too. It does nothing. But they have to, like, virtue signal this. We stand up to Trump, so we're going to go and speak for 8 hours. And it does nothing. But supposedly for their party, it's going to help them. Thank you for the $5 donation. You understand corporate tax cuts aren't great optics. But you have libs like Chunk Yogurt who just completely ignore the middle class tax cuts. They all do. They make no effort to talk about it. And that's one of the more annoying things. It's the same thing with liberals and tariffs and them not understanding that the tariffs are really not having an effect of prices. We haven't seen inflation go up. That would show. Can you show the clip of the first detainees in Alligator Alcatraz? Yeah, I'll find that tonight. I'll find some clips for that. I guess we'll look and see some stuff. It is July 4th tomorrow, yes. Will there be protests tomorrow? I heard the protests were going to be very weak tomorrow. They were trying to do that No Kings 2.0. I mean, you could tell when they did that originally, it was doctored and there was a bunch of money involved to get people to go out, and they don't have the funds. The funds dried up. They tried to do a 2.0. They can't do it. Nobody wants to go. They said it would be a bad look to do it on the 4th of July, too, I guess. I don't know. What is the point about the spending bit thing for this bill? We're not even spending. We're cutting spending. They're keeping the tax cuts. So the tax cuts, they're going to create potentially less revenue, depending. Although you could say they're going to create more revenue for the economy because there's going to be more economic activity because people are going to have more disposable income. But they say, well, because Trump extends, it's not even like they're new tax cuts. He's just now there are certain things like there's the no tax on overtime, no tax on tips. Those are limited apparently, but those are in. And there's a few other things, but it's just a bunch of spending on, raising defense spending. I guess people are not happy about, which I understand, but will this put a dent in your depression, a spring in your step? What, this bill? Political news normally. I mean, I'm happy this passed, but Yeah, I don't know if political news necessarily affects. I mean, certainly if there's something that big happens, like an election or something. But I don't know this. I mean, because I always thought this was going to pass. This big beautiful bill. I kind of thought this was a foregone conclusion because Trump has so much power right now because he won, and it's, believe it or not, it's very important to win the popular vote, and because you can just bully people. And I mean, he bullied a lot of these congressmen. Are stream donations considered tips? If so, just do more streams. Yeah, right. That's what people were talking about. I remember that during the election, people were like, "Yeah, that's going to be good for you because of the passage of this." I wonder if that. Do you guys know the provision about gambling? Now, so listen, I don't do any gambling. I mean, I do. I guess I do crypto, but do you guys know the provision that they put in? They screwed gamblers really bad if that stays in. It's not a good thing. I was reading about it. I saw a video about it. They're not happy about it. Zoran scandal is wild. What he called himself a black man on his college application. It's typical. They trying to get in. It's the easiest way to get into colleges. That is funny. What even is this sanctuary city for from socialism? Oh, they're against socialism. Vincent, thank you for the $10. Do you think the lives are going to have to recognize some of the good things? Do you think the libs, you mean? Libs are going to have to recognize some good things that got done for the midterms? Well, they're not going to focus on that. They're going to focus on the negative. I don't think libs would admit that, Trump has done great. I mean, my guess is they'll focus on the tax cuts for the rich. I don't even know what they talk about with, with their talking points against Trump at this point. A lot of them are just ridiculous. They say he's a fascist because he sues media organizations, but Newsom does it. They say he's a fascist because he's taking over Greenland. I mean, it's all. And then with this bill, he's extending the, like, there's nothing even about this. Like, the only thing you could say is, all right, if you are increasing the military budget by 150 billion, that's something you could that's not even what they're criticizing him for. They're criticizing him for, I mean, the main thing is just extending tax cuts. And then they say it's, oh, the ultra rich, and then you have to go through this routine with them. No, it's everyone. It's the largest tax break for the middle class. It's the campaign promises. Like, what is even, I don't even know what Musk is bitching about. What spending exactly is Musk bitching about? They don't say it. They just say, oh, it's going to raise the debt. Term sanctuary city needs to be. I don't even know, what does it even mean. It's a dumb. It's like a construct. It's terrible. Yeah, it needs to go away, and it doesn't even operate properly because the sanctuary cities can't even house the illegals that come in, and then we ship them there, and then they bitch about it. They don't even know what fascism means. Well, I mean, it's just like what racism was. Everyone they all called Trump a racist, and then at a certain point, it has no real meaning. I mean, because you use it too much, the word becomes meaningless. So they shifted to fascist, and the second term it's been more about Trump being a fascist. The first term it was he was a racist. Lil X will need a therapist after all of this. What with Musk? I mean, I don't even. Is Musk actually going to do it? Launch it? I mean, let's see what Musk's reaction to this is. Starlink is available in Shad. Just what we needed. Yeah, Musk is just retweeting a bunch of shit, shilling his companies. Musk is going to probably come out with big tweets tonight or tomorrow, knowing him. Because Trump's going to sign it tomorrow. Good, we'll see what Musk ends up doing. No tax on tips overtimes. No, I think the Social Security wasn't included, or it was, but maybe something different. I'm gonna have to read into it, but they had to take the Social Security out, and then I think they tried putting it back in with some different verbiage or like. But I heard it's limited in terms of the no tax on overtime and the no tax on tips. Will the big beautiful bill fuel the bull run? I think it'd be a catalyst. Certainly. I mean, this is short term phenomenal. Now, long term, we can say there's some issues. I mean, there's always going to be issues. We have $2 trillion. We have a $2 trillion deficit. We have a $1 trillion interest payment. Now, the interest payment's probably going to go down. They want the interest rates at 2%, 2.5% maybe by 2026. But Typhoon, this is going to help significantly short term. Long term, you could make an argument. You're kicking the can down the road. But if you're talking about, we have everything set up for this Q3, Q4 bull run. I mean, it just has to happen. Hopefully it does. But we're coming into a point to where they're pressuring Powell to bring the interest rates down. The tax cuts are remaining in place. There's more tax cuts. You can deduct more on your Social Security income than before. Yeah, I mean, there's something in it, I think, where there's relief. I don't know if it's a full no tax on it. 25K limit, no tax on tips. Yeah, so they put limits on it. I guess it really, with the whole tips thing, it depends what classifies as a tip and how it's how it's reported. Yeah, Trump's bill passed earlier today. What's the excuse now for no rate cuts? They would just say the tariff situation. I guess it's ridiculous. I don't see how they could say that anymore with what's going on. I mean, Trump, he's going to do what he's going to do with the tariffs, but the tariffs have been under control and the inflation hasn't gone up. So I don't see how that's a proper. It's just not a proper retort for not bringing them down. Is going to hurt casinos, big players. Yeah, dude, if that's seriously in there with the 90% deduction thing, that is terrible for gambling if that's in there. Because and I understand gambling is bad and everything, but that type of tax is something I'm against. Because you're taxing people for money that they lost potentially because of the way gambling works. But I'm not for I mean, I don't gamble, but I'm just saying in general, that type of tax when the government starts doing that, that's rough. I don't know how they're where is the gambling lobbyists? How do they allow something like that to happen? A lot of media sources saying that it will tank the economy. Well, it certainly won't tank the economy short term. What they should be is they should be arguing long term debt problem and the contribution of this. Short term, it's going to help. I mean, rate cuts or tax cuts obviously will help the economy short term pretty significantly. Connor, what's up, man? Thoughts on Trump baby account? I mean, I think it's an obvious thing that should be done. I don't know. You'd have to look at it exactly. They should make it to where, isn't it? You can't take it out until the person turns 25. Hopefully that's what it is, because otherwise parents are just going to take it out. I know it's like $1,000 the government pays for every baby. It goes into the S&P. You would think that the big money gamblers it affects would be all over this. Yes, where are they? Why hasn't the taxable limit been changed since the 70s? Well, I mean, the way they have it now, I mean, it's almost like crypto in a sense, to where although crypto, the reporting on it is iffy because there's so many transactions you can make. But technically, if you make a bunch of money off of a crypto, that's taxable, even if you don't actually cash it out to fiat. So you could make a bunch of money, then try and put that into another crypto and then lose it, and you're still going to owe taxes, even without cashing anything out. Because that's just, and it's very similar to like what they're trying to do with that gambling, to where it's 90%. You only get to deduct 90%, but really that's not even a deduction. You lost, it's a loss versus gain. That's what gambling is. You're gonna lose if you want to win. If Medicaid gets fucked for people, the rural hospitals hurt. This may be a big liability for Republicans next cycle. No, I mean, the Medicaid stuff. I mean, they have to do something with Medicaid. They have to do something with Medicare. The government spends way more on Medicare, anyways. But they tried to do. It's slowly, peeling back the entitlements and trying to restructure them. From the thing that I saw, it was able-bodied people that weren't working, and so I mean, I heard it was going to save if it goes if what we'll see exactly what it is, because there's provisions, but it potentially could save 70 or 80 billion dollars. Now, you get a few sob stories and stuff on people losing, their health coverage. It could be an issue, but I mean, at some point, it's like we have to look into this and do something. But it's like I'm not even sure what they want us to do in terms of this debt, because they want Trump to get rid of the debt, but he can't touch any of the entitlements. So what is he supposed to do? I guess they just want him to tax rich people into oblivion. I think that would be the only satisfactory thing for them. Which not even, and that's just normie Democrats want that. Not even the top Democrats know that's not going to happen. Thoughts on Nancy Mace PJs? It's weird. It's pay attention to me. It makes no sense. I don't know why she did that. Just very odd. Just a weird woman. If somebody is basing their gambling decisions on taxes, they're already in too deep. Yeah, I mean, but it is they did really hurt that industry just by looking at that tax that they put onto it. Where do you see big tech stocks heading into the second half of the year? I think they're going to do very well. I think the market's going to do very well. I mean, the market's already fully recovered from the tariff concerns, and I mean, we're at all time highs, but this is going to juice the market even more, and especially the crypto market. Would the tariff revenue somewhat cancel out the tax revenue loss from the tips? Well, I mean, the idea was we were going to use that against the deficit, but I mean, yeah, if you that's another way it can cancel out. I'm sure it probably would easily cancel that out if we're making 23 or 24 billion every month in revenue. I mean, you can't predict exactly how much tariff revenue you make every month, but I mean, if it's like a steady amount, you can start saying ballpark range. When rate cuts, there'll be emergency cuts, I think. No, I don't know. I mean, with Powell, there's probably not going to be emergency cuts. They got the next meeting on the 30th. They're really going to pressure Powell. He's going to have to lower him, I think, by at least 0.25 on the 30th. I think right now there's only like a 30% chance of it, though. No, no, I don't own XRP. What is going to happen to the tariff revenue? I would presume it's probably going to go up even more. Trump has said that he's going to reinstate a lot of these tariffs at high, because we brought it down to a 10% global level. Well, he's already brought it back up on Vietnam to 20%. He's already with China, I think it's like 50%. With some of these other countries, Trump is, I mean, with Japan, he said it's probably just going to be 30% flat rate. So I think the tariff revenue is probably going to go up. I mean, at a certain point, these U.S. companies are going to probably produce domestically, and then it'll go back down. But then, I mean, the tariffs do what they're supposed to do. It's more production domestically, and people have to understand. I mean, these countries are so reliant on the United States. They will lower their production costs to still be competitive for U.S. companies. So in essence, if Vietnam is slapped with a 20% tariff, they will do things to make their stuff cheaper, whether it's labor costs, whether it's the making of the item, so they can bring their prices down, so the U.S. companies can pay the tariff and then pay to import the price or the product. I mean, that's just the reliance that these other countries have on the U.S. consumer base. Think about it. Chances of a major market correction in the AI field within the next 2 years? I don't know. I mean, AI seems it's almost like the 2021. God, what was that 2021 with the sandbox and VR? It's almost like the VR stuff on steroids because there's actually, I mean, people use AI every day. So I don't know if there'll be a correction. I mean, at some point there's going to be a correction because it'll be overvalued, but AI is like kind of a runaway train right now. Nobody really knows what to do with AI. Did we or didn't we make a deal with China? No, we made a deal with China. The thing is we made a deal with them and said, I mean, the deal is there's gonna be tariffs on them, but it's a deal, but there's tariffs still because Trump wants to generate revenue and thinks he can get away with it, without it impacting the inflation or the prices. What is your opinion of XRP? Yeah, I'm not gonna buy XRP. I mean, I think XRP is extremely high in market cap. It'd be hard to see it do a 5 or a 10x at this point. I mean, it might. I know it's a huge normie coin. We'll see what it does in terms of maybe some type of breakthrough with a real world utility. But do you think AI should have guardrails? I mean, the issue is you're probably only going to hurt your country because you think these other countries are going to have guardrails on it. The EU certainly will. It doesn't even matter. The EU can't even innovate to the point to where the AI, they create like a supercomputer. But other than the EU, I mean, who's going to put guardrails on them? It's like I don't think the government would put guardrails on themselves. They might limit, and that's what Trump said, to limit the state rights when it comes to the AI development because it becomes an issue if certain states develop certain AI. But I mean, that's a state right issue. Some conservatives don't like that. I don't know if that's in this bill or if they took it out, the AI stuff. You don't think inflation is going to go down anytime soon, do you think? Well, inflation is we really don't need inflation to go down. We'd like it to stay where it is. I'd like it to go down to around 2% in terms of core. But I don't think it's a big problem where it is right now. If it's at 2.4, 2.3, if it stays there, I mean, the rate cuts need to happen. It's basically 2%. They said to get it to 2%. It's basically at 2%. The trueflation, although I haven't checked it recently, but the trueflation is around there. The whale enters. Sean, what's up? Big banks are using XRP for transactions might be undervalued. Yeah, I've heard real world use cases of it, and so there are certain things you can do with XRP because of the total supply relative to Bitcoin that make it more realistic to use in certain it's like a lot of transactions you can do more with XRP, but I mean, we'll see. BTC was never really meant to be used in a transactional way. It's digital gold. You hold it, you store it, and it accumulates value over time. That's what I would say about BTC. Elon was complaining that the big beautiful bill includes defunding enforcement of contempt rulings by judges. Any news on this? I don't even. So wait, isn't that what Trump's been dealing with this entire time? Unless I'm reading that wrong. Defunding enforcement. Yeah, I don't see how that would be possible. Why would Trump put that in there? Do you eat cereal? I don't eat much cereal anymore. When I was younger, I had cereal. I'm one of the weird people. I never had it with milk. I just eat cereal. But I realize it's very dry now. BTC at 110K breakout soon. Yeah, it'd be a breakout to like, I'd say 150. No, it'd like be a breakout to 130. But I think the cycle high is like 150 to 170. That might be a bearish prediction too. I mean, who knows? They are talking about setting up a strategic reserve, like a legitimate one, to where they're going to buy BTC, the U.S. government. Yeah, these self deportations, guys. I mean, I really want to do a video on the self deportations because this is extremely key. They're saying there's a million self deportations within the first 5 months. Now I'm gonna have to look into it and we'll see. But I mean, if there actually are a million self deportations, it's we're gonna have to add those, and this is phenomenal. We knew there were gonna be a lot of self deportations, and we'll see how verifiable it is. But best part of Trump and the winning is the return of patriotism around the 4th, especially with the big beautiful bill passing. Yeah, and they do it on, right in line. Timing is perfect. They literally pass it today, and then it's on the desk tomorrow, and it's the 4th of July. It's almost like they planned Hakeem Jeffries. Well, it wouldn't even matter because they could have passed it earlier in the day, but it's like you let him speak, and then but he had to do that, Jeffries. It's this just fake pandering, just a waste of time. But that's your job. You have to go out and speak for 8 hours because Trump is bad, even though nothing is going to come of it. It's this just fake pandering. If your channel is still around in 2028, will you live stream the 2028 presidential election? I mean, I don't see why not. It's a ways away, man. 2028. I mean, it's going to be a long stream if I did. Yeah, I mean, if it's still around, absolutely. Can you go over your biggest altcoin holdings? I own a bunch of meme coins, man. Like, legitimately, I own meme coins. I used to own utility. When I came back into crypto in 2023, I owned a bunch of AI slop, layer one slop, but then I changed my portfolio, and now my portfolio is pretty much set. But I'm kind of confident in my portfolio. We'll see. But it's like I just need one of my coins to do very well, and I'll be fine. If I can just get a certain amount out, I'll be happy. The Trueflation is under 1.98. Yeah, well, we knew it was going to go back down after the crude oil came back down. So that doesn't surprise me. It's back under 2. Hopefully, it goes to like back under 1.8. Any salt mine clips of psychos in their cars freaking out? Yeah, I mean, they're all so fake and disingenuous. I'm sure there'll be more, though, because of this bill. It's like Trump's, this is Trump's big spending bill, even though it cuts actual spending. But, yeah, they'll probably be in their car. I mean, you're right. They all go in their cars and they do it. I don't know what it is. And I'm not, like, hating on people or disparaging people, but they're all in their cars. Is it like this thing to where they all work and the only time they have to be alone is when they're in their car? Is that seriously what it is? We need Thomas Crooks and Ryan Ruth updates. Yeah, the Ukraine wacko who tried to kill Trump at the golf course, and obviously Crooks. Yeah, I mean, I don't know when we're going to get those updates, man. I mean, Trump's been talking about it. He's been saying it needs to happen. But we'll see if there's anything here. Mike Johnson basically simping for Trump. Mondani identified as black. I mean, this is just all this is just. So this dude is from Uganda. He identifies as black. He has a clear disdain for white people. You can see in his tweets. This is the issue with all of these people coming into this country. I mean, this is the type of shit that you get. Like, what is this conjumbled, just total mess? This is a self-proclaimed socialist who has communist tendencies, who lied. I mean, it is true. When you become a citizen, you have to answer questions about like communism and all this stuff, and he just lies about all of it. Obviously, he likes it. But like, this is the slop you get when you do this and you appease to like just this migration obsession. This is the stuff that comes of it. And then, I mean, The weird thing with New York City is it's all the white rich kids that voted for him too. It's not even like you can say, well, all the minorities voted for him. They didn't. They voted for Cuomo. How crazy is that? Mikey J had some great speeches today. He's really proven to be a great speaker. Yeah, I mean, he's definitely, when he came out with Trump during that UFC event, I mean, he knows he's got to be he's got to kiss up to Trump, and that's the name of the game when especially after that win that Trump had and all the power that Trump has within the Republican Party. You're the Speaker of the House. You do your job, and you make sure you put Trump in a very positive light. Tesla at 315 now. Where do you see it going? I think Tesla's going to do, what has Tesla had a big pullback really ever since Musk got involved. There's a Tesla holder in the stream that constantly talks about it. I think Tesla will still do very well. People think it's overvalued, but I mean, I'm not buying Tesla just because you're not getting a 4 or 5x out of it. What do you think's going to happen with the senators if they don't get elected in 2028? Well, then they're not going to be in office anymore. Unless I'm missing something in that. Can you finally shill MJC, Mike Johnson coin, now that he passed the bill? I'm not even sure that's active anymore. Go over your holdings in crypto. We'll pump it. I mean, I could talk about crypto later in the stream. Normally it's a later topic. I normally do politics and then I talk about crypto. AOC crying clip is wild. Well, it's just this constant. It's just clip farming with AOC. She does this just to go viral. Don't think anyone's prepared for what they just did with ICE. This is not a simple budget increase. It's an explosion. Yeah, and this is really what Trump needed to do to be able to build the infrastructure to deport.
I think this is one of the saddest days in modern American history.
She calls it one of the saddest days. I'm sorry, I'm not close enough to my microphone. She calls it one of the saddest days in modern American history. Yeah.
This is the largest. This is the largest withdrawal and ending of healthcare in American history. 17 million people in our country, 17 million Americans in our country are going to lose their Medicaid. They're going to lose their ACA insurance. Small business owners are going to have their healthcare costs skyrocket. And people are going to have their SNAP and WIC cut back. People are going to go hungry. People are going to get sick. On a scale unlike anything we've ever seen. And all of it is just to finance tax cuts for billionaires and the wealthiest corporations who don't even need it. I don't think I don't think we have ever seen or are prepared for how catastrophic this is set to be for a lot of people. And I think it's devastating. And they're talking about this as though it's some tax cut. Even the stuff that they're talking about, taxes on tips, no tax on tips, that's only for people, that's only up to $25,000. And if you're making less than that, you're already kind of exempt from a lot of these things in the first place. So they're giving people crumbs and they're taking away the whole loaf. And
yeah, but honey, would you admit that rich people by far pay the most in taxes? So if there's going to be tax cuts, their taxes are probably going to get cut at a higher amount than middle class people. But it's like there's no concept of any of that. Well, of course she knows it, but she doesn't say it, so she can manipulate people and say this is what's really happening without actually adding the context to it. But we're not going to do with these liberals. I mean, it's the same thing over and over again. It's the fear mongering. I mean, they try and cut into an entitlement because the entitlements are just out of control and you're constantly bitching about the deficit and Trump running it up. Okay, so he's going to try and cut into an entitlement and get the illegals off of Medicaid and get people who are able-bodied and aren't working Get them to work. Yeah. Why are you obsessed with Palantir, man? You love Palantir Kloss. I'm waiting for Jasmine Crockett to respond. Yeah, that'll be great. House of Representatives cancels all votes next week after having to listen to frickin' Jeffries for 8 hours, I guess. Show us Hakeem. I mean, which part? It's just constant babbling for 8 hours. I don't even think there's a part I can show. At least with Cory Booker, he just has constant breakdowns when he's speaking. The entire Palantir story is a New York Times piece that even they admit it isn't real. What do you mean it's not real? A lot of the able-bodied people who can work, do work, they get paid under the table, and then they also get Medicaid. They're double fucking the government. Right, there's a lot of that. Of course, there has to be. How are we in such a massive hole in terms of these entitlements? There has to be a ton of this skimming. So you try and correct it, and people get angry about it. But it's like, even you do this little small thing, and it's just this. We cut taxes for everyone. They get mad. We try and fix the entitlements, which are obviously a mess. They get mad. You listen to Travis Scott, Jack Boys 2, OTW. No, I don't listen to Travis Scott. I'm sorry, man. She was wrong when she said if you make up to 25K, you can claim up to 25,000 in tips. Yeah, I know. Well, I don't know if she did she say like $25,000 in terms of salary? Yeah, I mean that's wrong if she said that. It's the total amount of tips at 25,000 or less. Thoughts on the Diddy situation? There's a lot of powerful people that were going to be having some major problems if they found Diddy guilty on all those charges and, like life in prison. Imagine that. So I think a lot of powerful people made that go away or made it less important of a situation. That would be my take on it. Was there a Trump rally? I'll say. Trump on Iran, we're not looking to hurt them. We're looking to let them be a country again. Yeah, Trump just wants the situation to go away. I don't think it's going to, though. Trump on his call with Putin. We also talked about the war with Ukraine, and I'm not happy about it. I didn't make any progress with him today at all. So that seems like a standstill at this point. Could you explain no tax on overtime was actually preventing them from withholding on our paycheck? But now you hear it's just a tax filing deduction up to 12,500. Is it 12,000? Yeah, it would be. Well, I don't know if it's 12,500 on tips. It's 25,000, but it's. I don't know. I mean, it depends. I mean, I know with overtime the taxes are ridiculous. You get taxed double if you work overtime, but now they're saying there's no tax on it, and there is a cutoff. There's a limit. Now I don't know what the limit is on overtime, but once you reach a certain limit, then you're going to be taxed again in terms of making money, and it's an annual thing. Did you see the Netflix series on Osama bin Laden? No, I heard about it. Is it? I was told it was mainly about the hunt for bin Laden. Maybe it's interesting. Maybe I'll check it out. I heard it was mainly about after 9/11 is what I was told. What will happen to the Diddy Files video blackmail? It'll probably be destroyed, honestly. I mean, there's just too many powerful people involved. They make this stuff go away, and then, us normal citizens, what are we going to do? But I don't know. I haven't really been following the Diddy situation. It's 12,500. I highly doubt I'm gonna be affected by any of this, bro. I mean, yeah. But it's something to where, there's people, it comes down to people trying to skim off of the government and trying to skim healthcare. It's a problem, but we can't even touch any of it without people bitching. Classical, thank you for that. Tariffs affect consumers more than corporation. Also, liberals, the greedy corporations, the consumers can't afford it. Yeah, and then liberals will also then defend. I mean, it's just so much hypocrisy. Liberals will also then defend like H-1Bs, which is just pure capitalism, just pure labor extortion. They want to hammer the corporations, and then it's all hypocrisy. Invite you and Trump to Davos to celebrate the one big beautiful bill. Aren't you retired? I mean, you still live in Switzerland, man. Do you live in Switzerland full time? Laura Trump running for office, I think so, in maybe North Carolina. That's what Trump said. Trump said he endorsed her in North Carolina. Tillis isn't running. Wolf, I appreciate it. Love the way you keep it so real in your coverage. Keep up the good work. Trump's a god candidate. Yeah, we got another one of these trolls here. Tillis is South Carolina, you thought? No, there was a story that just came out about Tillis not retiring. Corporations won't raise the price on goods. Why? They are saving a ton of money on regulations being cut. Yeah, I mean, some of them are for sure. And that's something you'll get with Republicans. They'll cut out regulations, make it easier for them. You traverse between Shangri-La and Davos in the summer. What's the Trump rally right now? Well, I would imagine if there is a Trump rally, it's probably because he passed the bill. Man, he does. I mean, obviously somebody right, but there is just every time I see one of these screenshots, it's just a wall of text. Trump is going to the Iowa. Oh yes, that is right. So it's the 3rd. He's going to Des Moines.
I think we're going to get great growth. I think we'll have growth at record numbers. This is going to be something that's amazing, and everybody was watching it all over the world. And I want to congratulate the speaker and Tom Emmer and Steve Scalise and everybody else. I mean, they worked so hard So hard. This has really been going on for over a year, if you think about it. I think, to be exact, about 14 months.
When is the Trump rally at in Des Moines? Is it probably 8 Central? I mean, if he's going by plane right now, maybe it's 7 Central. I don't know.
And this was the culmination, and I guess it ended a lot earlier. A lot of people thought it would end up the following afternoon. Well, it ended up late in the evening, but they were great. They were great. And by the way, on the Senate side, I thought Senator Thune did a fantastic.
7:30 Central, 8:30. Yeah. Someone asked about DeSantis. I don't know. You see DeSantis and Trump with that alligator Alcatraz they have. They were on really good terms apparently, but I think DeSantis is, his wife is running. It'll be interesting. I don't know if that'll get ugly or not, because that's the MAGA, the MAGA candidate Byron Donalds against Casey, which is basically just Ron, another term for Ron in Florida. But I think he's, he'll see if his wife wins or not before deciding what he does. People are saying he'll run again in 2028. I think it's going to be tough for Ron to he just doesn't have the support behind him. He doesn't have MAGA behind him, so it's just not going to happen. You thought it already passed yesterday with Vance breaking the tie? No, there's a number of votes. There's a lot of votes, especially with a bill like this. Vance broke a tie, and they had to litigate it, and there were amendment changes, and that was in the Senate. It went back to the House. And now it's going to Trump, and so they're doing the big signing tomorrow. So it's done. It's passed. They got through the final House vote. Brian Kemp could run for. Brian Kemp's not going to do well in a general election at all. He doesn't have anywhere close in terms of social media era. You need to have a personality. You're extremely far right socially, but would absolutely be in favor of ultra taxing the rich to help citizens financially. Yeah, that makes so much sense. And at a certain point, the rich people will dry up, and the rich people are what fund our taxes, anyways. It's funny. People always talk about that, and that's fine. I mean, it doesn't pay anything to say we should tax people that make $20 million like 75%, because they would still be well off. But the issue is the amount that they bring in terms of overall money, overall, economic flow, the jobs that they create. And then on top of that, I mean, just look at the United States and where we're at in terms of our life quality to pretty much every other country because of capitalism. People always talk about this terrible wealth inequality. It's like our poverty line is so much higher than everywhere else when you compare it. And sure, the cost of living is more than a lot of countries, but it's like they never want to look at the opposite end of it. Huh. Maine meetup tomorrow. Let's fucking go. Yeah, it's in it's in Portland, Maine. That's the meetup. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. There's no meetup. There's a massive rally tomorrow in Portland, Maine. Maybe Elon will launch his party tomorrow after the signing ceremony. He's been quiet, so we'll see. He should not do that. It's going to go very badly. The thing with Elon is, I don't get the whole, this patriotism. Elon was born in South Africa. This whole idea, this dude is going to lead the next chapter in American political history with this party that unites both moderate Dems and moderate Republicans. With this dude that was born in South Africa, this dude's going to lead it, really? Who's the richest? This is not how some crazy third party unites and galvanizes. He's gonna pay for a bunch of shit. He'll probably pay for all the support that it gets. It's all gonna be fake. I don't think it's gonna do well. Red Sox went to the White House today. I saw that. Yeah, teams don't protest going to the White House anymore. How pussy do you have to be? I'm not going to the White House because, so and so is the president. Elijah, thank you. Is this the most significant legislation since the Affordable Care Act? Biden couldn't pass his BBB, but Trump passed his BBB. Yeah, well, they'll say the Infrastructure Act, but this is a sweeping. This is like completely just unbelievable record numbers in terms of money for deportations and I mean the deportation budget now is more than most defense spending for pretty much all countries outside of like the top 7. So it is a crazy bill that Trump has. And also you start introducing remittance. There's things for rare earth refinement. I mean there's a ton of stuff on here. Christopher, thank you. Here's a tip. Tell the government not to tax this donation. LOL. Yeah, I wonder. I've been hearing about that type of stuff going into effect October 2026. I don't know. Maybe October 2025. White Sox fans are pissed at, or sorry, Red Sox fans are pissed at Red Sox going to the White. I mean, there's probably liberal fans. It's Massachusetts. There's gonna be liberal fans angry about that, I'm sure. Illegals having Medicaid, and then they say, well, no, illegals can't have Medicaid. Well, then why are we able to cut all this money from the budget? It's because, yes, the doctor doesn't have to disclose or ask if they're a citizen or not, and that's how they get it. JL, thank you for that. I appreciate it. The Q&A video. CNN, New York Times reported today that the Trump administration is still floating that bullshit about farm immigrant workers. Yeah, no, that is happening from what I saw. They are going to temporarily, they say temporarily keep some of them. Obviously, that's bad. What happened was Trump was getting a lot of shit for a number of different things. And when the timing of that came out, the base was so angry. And then there was somebody that, there was a rumor that no, it's not going into effect. There was a White House spokesperson that said, that's not real, it's fake. So then everyone got happier, and now with this good news passing, they kind of sneak it under the table and say, well, no, he's actually going to keep some of these migrants if the farmers want them temporarily, that's what they say, temporarily. I don't think it's going to be temporarily, especially if these people have been here. Trump says they've been here 10, 15, 20 years. They shouldn't be deported in some cases. I mean, look at Rogan. Did you see what Rogan said today? Rogan said, well, why is Trump going after all these people on farms and raiding Home Depots and stuff? He should be going after the cartels and all this stuff. It's like Rogan is so soft. But Rogan is like he's very moderate. So it's like there has to be a hardline stance against immigration that's non-negotiable. And he immediately starts bitching the first time we see this. This is exactly what liberals want. You heard Trump resented that? Yeah, originally it was reported he did, but then it was brought. It's apparently it's not. Who are you picking on the hot dog contest? Well, isn't it what is it, Joey Chestnuts? You know what? They probably got the bets here. I wonder if he's a massive favorite in this. Hot dog. 92% chance. Really? Yeah, that's. I guess the only drama is how many he can actually eat. How many can he slurp down? No homo. Farm workers and Apple iPhone human labor are both non-existent talking points. None of that shit is real. Oh no, there are a lot of illegals working on farms. I mean, they raid farms and construction sites. 30 of them will scatter. You could look in a direction and there'll be 10 illegals at a construction site. So many recent wins for Trump. Time for Greenland. Huh. Yeah, Greenland might be a little bit. We'll see with Greenland. You know, you're gonna want to just absorb it. Just absorb it. Absorb it into the country. That's the way to do it. I was looking at all the territories that we own because I want to do a video on it. Greenland may end up being one, but not right now. Rogan lives in a big mansion in Texas. Of course, he's soft on illegals. Well, Rogan, in general, whether whether how rich he is or whatever, in the type of gated community he lives in, the point is he's always been like a moderate. But him already buckling like that and doing that whole routine, does he understand how many illegals are in the country? I mean, we're not going to sit here and do this. And then of course the guy sitting next to him, the guest, there's no pushback, there's no explanation of the dynamics in terms of how many illegals have entered the country and why it's non-negotiable, and all the studies now that have come out that say the vast majority of American citizens want all the illegals deported. They've changed their tune from the amnesty, from the people that have been here. Now it's really Trump the one who's trying to push it because I guess big agriculture was getting angry. Thank you, a few bears deep for America right now, and all I want to do is some gaming and listen to my hot takes. Yeah, well, I don't know. My takes have been a little bit more tame recently. A lot of it is because of how hot this room is. I need the room to go back to like a good 68 degrees, and I'll be able to stay on longer and stuff. But the room is just so hot. This streaming room that I'm in. But once I move and stuff, I'll be able to situate it a lot better. Did you hear they made an app to detect ice in your area? Yeah, I heard about that. Isn't that what Trump is suing them for? Wasn't he suing, I don't know if it was CNN or someone. He was suing someone for the fact that they made that app, the ice detection, which I don't even know. You know, there was something, I don't know if it's legal. I was in somebody's car when I was younger and they had a detection of police officers, so they would tell you when there's a police officer in the area, so you'd slow down. It's honestly not like, that's not even something that you really need, because with cops, I mean, you can go 7 over the speed limit, you'll be fine. I haven't gotten a ticket in like 7 years myself. Did you ever find that clip of the construction workers running from ICE and in LA at the start of the riots? Huh. I think I saw that clip. What's wrong with your air conditioner? No, there's nothing wrong with my air conditioner. It's at 68. The problem is I think it's the roof insulation. The roof insulation is not great in my house. But again, the dynamic of the thing is if this room was in the front of the house, I'd have no problems. It's the way the sun comes down, it hits the back of the house, it superheats the room. So it's not a great combination. But the thing is I could go in another room right now and it would be fine. Because if you have the sun beating on in a room, even if there's a shade, there's still going to be a certain amount of heat that gets into the room. And on top of this is an upstairs room. So you also have an insulation problem with the roof. But it's mainly the sun hitting into the window at 5 or 6 o'clock as it sets. How often do you get your hair cut? It used to be like every 8 weeks. Now it's every 4 or 5 weeks. Why are stock coins mooning recently? Stock to meme. Yeah, I love stock to meme. But I don't know if they're mooning necessarily. Maybe some of the Solana ones. I don't like the Solana coins, man. Not the Solana coins. No, 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 no. Not the Solana coins. But no, it's because of the narrative. I mean, it's just a great narrative. The video outside looked great yesterday. Yeah, I mean, maybe, but the thing is, those videos are hard to do because the amount of gigabytes that takes up even to record 20 minutes, it's pretty crazy. It took me like 2 hours to upload it with processing speed, and it's because it's from my phone. I mean, the phone, but that was even the front facing camera. Think about how great the iPhone camera is. That was the front facing camera. Obviously, it's, the face cam is going to be worse quality than if I turned it around. Hottest part of the day is between 3 and 5 o'clock. Yeah, the hottest part of the day is, I would say, around like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I mean, give or take. It's like, but yeah, it's about 3 and 5. The administration is selling worst of the worst, but we all know they are mass arresting. You don't arrest 3,000 MS-13. Well, obviously they're gonna mass arrest. I mean, they've been given a mandate to do that, so they can say whatever they want. They're gonna mass arrest illegals, and this is a huge operation. So there's gonna be maybe a few issues here and there with getting the wrong person. We've had that happen, but I mean, that's just when you have this many illegals. They shouldn't have let this many illegals into the country. It's like you let this many illegals into the country and they cry about them being sent back. Well, why were they let in the first place? It's like we have to let them in and then we can't do anything about it. Do you think Trump redoes NAFTA, North American Trade Agreement? That doesn't that make sense that he would redo that? I thought he was going to. Either way, that agreement with Mexico and Canada, it has to be reviewed next year anyway. So why not just do it this year? Trump rally, is it on? No, man, it's not on. The Trump rally's not on. But I mean, with Trump, it's, I've seen a lot of his rallies. He'd definitely be happy about the bill and passing, and he's gonna have, I think, another rally tomorrow. It's with the 4th of July and with everything that happened. When do we annex Alberta? Should it be a territory first? Well, it would have to be brought in as a territory. There's a process that has to be undertook to for it to apply for statehood, and so unless it got fast tracked somehow under a specialized deal, I think it would have to be a territory for sure. I'm not high on Alberta just because I think it's a cascade domino effect with some of the other territories, and then eventually, I should say provinces, some of the other provinces, and then eventually it would be all of Canada, which is something we don't want. I just watched the end of the Q&A video. Yeah, when people were asking me, I mean, they just constantly ask me if I'm gay and stuff. I think it's just something you get asked if you're on social media. In the bill, they said they want 1 million deportations a year. Yeah, and it's physical deportations. I mean, I don't know if it's possible. I can't calculate the amount because it depends how efficient are they with their spending when it comes to deporting people. Like how many people get deported for every $100,000 or $1 million that gets spent. So I can't really estimate on whether or not with the amount of spending they have they're going to be able to do that. It'll depend on how efficient they are with the spending on ICE. But I don't think they're going to count the self deportations. But we've got a ton of self deportations apparently. Which trade deal is next? Curious what the Japan policy is. Well, Trump said Japan was not cooperating and they're just going to tariff them at I believe 35% rate, something like that. So I think the policy is that they're just going to be tariffed and there's probably not going to be a trade deal with them. But you know how Trump is. That's how he negotiates. He says things. So maybe there will be a deal with them. But I think there's going to be a deal with India. I think there's going to be a deal with the EU. And then for a lot of these other countries, they're just going to get slapped with a tariff. There's not going to be a deal. Trump has said that. The smaller countries. You're one of my favorite YouTubers. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, they say there's about, we could probably deport about 20 million if that's how many there are. They say 17 to 22 million, but some people say there's 50 million. I mean, who knows exactly? Johnny, thank you for the $5. Now that there's no tax on overtime, the CBP is going to go crazy with the OT. And then you said it again. Well, thank you for the donation. Yeah, there is a cap on the overtime. It's people are saying it's 12,500, and then it's taxed. When you get to 300K subscribers, do a Lego video. I mean, I don't think that would be a real. I don't think that would kind of be a momentum killer, wouldn't it? I mean, I guess it doesn't matter. I could upload whatever, but do you think other countries are starting to get scared because of Trump because he follows through with his threats? Well, it's good he follows through with his threats. I mean, there is the narrative that he does. I mean, sometimes Trump won't, but no, that they should be. We should have some serious deterrent power now, especially after the Iran strikes as well. That's another good thing that comes from that. People were talking about the deterrence that we have now because Trump did follow through with that and he did strike them, and that's a developing situation still. We can't really claim a. I mean, we could claim a victory, but it is that situation's not over in Iran. Hopefully there'll be some type of deal that gets worked out and we can kind of just leave it alone. But they still have enriched uranium. Do you have Aura? Dude, how about that Aura coin? How does that even happen? How does it go from 700K to a million? It teleported. They say when coins teleport. That's what we need NASDAQ 420 to do. Just teleport to 100 million. The coin literally teleports from 700K to 100 in like 10 million in like 5 hours or something. Maybe it was longer than that, but what are the restrictions on no tax on overtime? Could we get an in-depth video about it? Well, this is what I've been told. I've been told it's after $12,500 and then no tax on tip after $25,000. Then it starts being taxed. Vance did a great job on the floor. Guess they see their future boss. Yeah, I mean, I think Vance is the overwhelming favorite, obviously. The only, in 2028, the only way I see it differently is if something happens to where Trump really wants his kid to be, his successor, which I don't think would be a good idea. But other than that, to me, it's pretty obvious. Am I going to see the new Jurassic Park? I really have never seen those movies, the Jurassic Park movies. I don't know, maybe. Maybe I'll go see the Jurassic Park. You think Don would be a good vice for JD? No, I don't. I mean, if it has to placate to Trump, I guess, but I don't think Don would be. I don't think Don is very likable. It just, and I think as a VP to Vance, it'd be redundant, and it would be. I mean, it brings out the MAGA base, but you think Vance will be able to bring out the MAGA base anyways? I mean, I guess if you really want to bring out the MAGA base, you have to. I don't think it would be a great pick. Don't think they can weaponize their enriched uranium though. They destroy the facility. Yeah, I know, but they can still use that as a bargaining chip. They obviously still have enriched uranium. They can rebuild facilities. So if they have the uranium, I agree with you. I think we destroyed a lot of the facilities that are major parts of creating a nuclear bomb. But the fact that they still have it, it's like it's never going to be 100% clean to where we know the exact amount that they have and it's all been destroyed and they have a 0% chance of making a. It's never going to be like that. There's always going to be this unknowingness. If we could get some type of deal, we could maybe move on or at least cool it for a while. Good movie, just saw it. The new Jurassic Park. Yeah, there's just no movies out. It's only that one. I mean, this is the problem with movies nowadays. It's just like they just don't make any good movies. It's crazy. And I know everyone says it. It's the most basic take ever, but it really is remarkable. Yeah, Elon's party is going to be some bullshit to where they try and siphon moderates. They siphon moderates from both the left and the right. Will AI replace human jobs? Of course. It's just the reality of, technological evolution. I don't know how many it'll replace, though. New York Buck with the $50. Thank you for that. Buckeyes plus 550 to repeat. Tied with Texas. Yeah, I mean, we'll see with Saiyan and I mean, Saiyan was a 5-star. And we'll see. I mean, it's possible. It's possible they repeat. It's very hard to do. Very hard to do, but they'll make the playoff for sure. They'll make the playoff for sure. They really should win the Big Ten this year. They haven't won the Big Ten in like 4 years. F1, the movie was incredible in IMAX. Wait, is that the movie with Brad Pitt? I think I saw the trailer for that. Coming years should be interesting. The past 8 have Democrats kicking and screaming about Trump. What's going to happen when they aren't going against Trump? New targets? Yeah, they'll just be new targets. Yeah. I mean, they're probably, it'll be different because, Trump commands such a crazy amount of attention and he makes so much news. So when you lose a personality like that, it's a lot different. So it'll be less, but there'll also be less news being made. But yeah, they've got the Trump derangement syndrome, and they're gonna have to attach that onto Vance. And I mean, it was always gonna happen. They were already starting to do it. They sensed that DeSantis was kind of moving in 2022, and they started to really attack him. And they said he was even worse than Trump because they felt threatened that DeSantis was going to be the candidate in 24. Obviously, that didn't happen. Excited about Sanders as Browns QB. I think it's a charade. I don't think Sanders is going to do well. Rookie, I mean, especially, he'll be starting by like game 7 or game 8. What a mess. The Browns don't really have great skill position players either. So I don't think Sanders will do well. They ended up drafting him mainly because of Haslam. He wants the headlines, and it's just, is it really worth it? I mean, they're gonna go out and they're gonna trot out Flacco for the first 5 games, go through the motions, probably go 1-4, and then Sanders will come in. I mean, they also got Dylan Gabriel. Who knows why? They took Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd round. I don't know why. Why would you take him in the 3rd round and then Sanders? They don't know what they're doing. But that was obvious. That was obvious. Haslam made them pick Sanders. Well, I would feel threatened too if my future candidate had a shit map pulled up on him mid-debate by DeSantis. Yeah, I remember that. That was the Fox News debate with Newsom. Mean Gene with $100. I've been getting some big donations recently from Mean Gene. Time to celebrate. What a list of accomplishments for Trump. It's stunning. This is a huge, huge bill. This is gonna juice everything. Even liberals know it. They have to try and cope and say, "Oh, the Medicare and tax cuts for ultra wealthy people." It's the same charade over and over again. This is huge. This is good. I appreciate that donation. The Florida whale enters. The Florida whale comes off the coast. The Florida whale comes off the Gulf of America. Thoughts on Ace Bailey players feeling terrible, absolutely horrible. What a he's like a third grade girl. He's pouting because he goes to the Jazz. Really, at fifth overall, that was horrible. Did he end up I think he ended up going to Salt Lake City, but it just shows you the entitlement now. And think about the entitlement with college football players with NIL to where they get paid immediately. That just shows you where these kids' heads are at. And it only gets worse and worse and worse. And the entitlement gets worse. The amount of money they make. I mean, these are 17-year-old kids. You get this type of money, you're probably going to have some big issues. I mean, if I got a lot of money when I was 17, it's probably not going to be spent well. That's just the reality. Now, maybe it goes to maybe they can put it in an account or something. I mean, I think I would have spent. I probably would have. You know, I'm smart enough to at least have a lot of that money. If I got a bunch of money when I was 17, I'd have a stock account. Put it in treasuries. Put it in the S&P. So it's like, you know, the S&P is just such a safe net. Maybe the Nasdaq a little bit better, but people don't like the volatility of it. Rank the best to least Jokers in Batman and TV. Well, Joker, what was it, 2019 with Joaquin Phoenix? That was a great one. Heath Ledger was the best, but then the Joaquin Phoenix one, the Suicide Squad one was just terrible. You gonna watch the World Cup? Yeah, I mean it's just such a big event. I mean you kind of have to watch the USA performance because it's, even though I don't like soccer. People are saying the bill kills the EV green energy investments, but doesn't mention they poured hundreds of billions into the industry, still failing after decades. Yeah, well, I mean, it is true. Fossil fuels gets tons of subsidies. I mean, fossil fuels, the lobbying force, they do run the Republican Party in a sense. But well, you know, with the EV stuff and green energy, it's you know, we're so far behind China. I don't know. I mean, we do have. You look at the amount of fracking we have, and the oil production is just unbelievable for the United States now. The Atom, thank you for the $2 donation. I want your resources. Yes, we want your resources. We love you. Is it seriously 175 billion for ICE? Because the thing is I saw that how is it not on here? I liked the fucking thing. Did I not like it hard enough for it to show up on my liked freaking, did I not like the fucking tweet hard enough? There's a tweet that shows the goddamn defense spending compared to the ICE. It's like you have to frickin'... Scott Bessent taking a glorious victory lap. I mean, we need to have a victory lap after the rate cuts happen. But they know the rate cuts are happening. The writing is on the wall. Trueflation back under 2%. I know somebody else told me that is at 1.98. But we knew the trueflation was going back down. It was inevitable. Once the crude oil came back down, you know, trueflation is heavily impacted by energy. That's where a lot of the volatility of it comes from. So the crude oil goes back down, you're going to see it go down. It's a few day lag, but it'll happen. But that ceasefire was huge. We needed that ceasefire to happen. You really dislike Scott Jennings? Well, Scott Jennings, what did he work with Bush? He toes the company line. He toes the Trump line. You kind of know what you're going to get with him. You understand the U.S. is behind U.S.'s crude oil as natural resources. China doesn't. Well, I think it's important to diversify with energy, especially when you look at areas within the United States that get the most sun hours out of any place on Earth. Why would we give that up? Why wouldn't we utilize that to our advantage? It's very cheap energy. Trump 2028 mass deportations, here we come. And we knew you were gonna show up, man. You wanted me to look this up? Here's the video of, I guess, the first pick.
No, I don't think he knows that.
That kind of looks like CGI. I don't even think it is, though. That's got to be CGI.
Hey, okay, no.
Biggest Trump 2.0 accomplishment. Yeah, it's boring, but it has to be shutting the border down. Like, in terms of the border crossings and border encounters, he brought him down by about 97%. It is, like, immediately. So it is boring, but right now that would be the biggest one.
No.
I think we need restrictions on, if you're over the age of 21 and you go to Disneyland or Disney World and you don't have children, straight to Alligator Alcatraz, El Salvador.
But have you ever been to Epcot?
I'm just saying, this is weird, and talk about people that get in the way of things. You trying to take your kids there and you got these weirdos walking around? I'm just saying.
Go to Epcot, it's great.
Yeah, there is a thing with Disney adults. I've never been to Disney World personally, but it's very obese people. They go there and they live there. Attending Scott Jennings, Caitlin Collins' wedding. Yeah, right. They're dating, I heard. That's congratulations for them. What is this? Just a simulation of it flooding like there's going to be alligators there? First batch of criminal aliens has arrived.
We are here to demand access to this detention facility. Based on reports that we've been able to glean, the site is already experiencing flooding. The first individuals who have been detained with no due process have arrived. And it's so essential when you have hundreds of millions of public dollars being spent.
How else do you arrest them? They're saying they're detained without due process. What does that even mean? They can prove they're illegal, then they go to court. A lot of them don't even go to court. They get deported. That's the same thing that happened under Obama. What are you talking about by due process? It's like these people, it's like whenever we deal with an illegal immigrant, we have to teleport them to the courtroom. Otherwise, liberals say there's no due process. If we don't somehow create a teleportation device that goes to a courtroom and it goes to a liberal judge, then it's not, apparently to liberals, it's not due process. We need to create the teleportation device.
On a political stunt, that we have the ability to see with our own eyes what is happening and to be the voices of our constituents. We are here to demand access to this detention facility based on...
Been listening a lot to Jasper, thank you for that. Been listening a lot since you got a puppy 3 weeks ago. Went down a rabbit hole. NFL caps, void years, and dead cap. Feel that there's a good video there. Within the NFL, in terms of the cap situation, the salary cap situation. I appreciate the donation. For whatever reason, I always like areas where it's undeveloped land. I don't know why. I just like open land. You know, there's a lot of open land in the Florida Everglades and stuff, so... Like, look at all that land. Now, this is an AI image, but... Just like when there's a bunch of open land, I don't know why. Undeveloped. I like when there's undeveloped land surrounded by, like, a city or something, or, like, a building. Solar panels imported from China instead of... Yeah, but there's a lot of shit that's made in China because it's cheaper. I mean, what do you want us to do? The point is that we have the most sun hours out of anyone in Yuma, Arizona. There should be the world's biggest solar panel farm in Yuma, Arizona. That's extremely cheap energy. You know how many sun hours we get? I mean, obviously, China's not stupid. Now, whether or not we can create the panels here, if it's cheaper there, I mean... You know, it is what it is. Yeah, that's obvious AI. You can tell they're not gonna have freaking. This is not even a thing. I mean, this is, you know, this type of thing. They wouldn't even be able to create this. This would flood over. This would flood over in a day with one rainstorm in Florida. This is not even a proper. There's no airport. It's a runway, but there's no actual airport. There's no hangars. Doesn't make any sense. So if someone is assaulting someone, you have to just ask them nicely to go to court because you can't detain them. Well, yeah, but I do think I'm kind of over embellishing it. But the point is that, you know, under Obama, you're not sending all these people to court before deporting them. It didn't happen. They deported a bunch of people without giving them the liberal due process. Liberals say the due process has to involve court, which is not true, especially for illegals. It's the same thing that happened under Obama. They get deported without going to court. Yes, and how the Eagles have put all their dead cap on 2029. Yeah, but you know another team, you know the Saints have been doing that, where they roll their cap over. It's a total mess. They should have put some type of restrictions to where these teams have to eat just bad years. But you're right, they keep prolonging the cap by deferring. I mean, look at the MLB situation with the Dodgers just blatantly manipulating it with the deferred contracts. What is Shohei Ohtani, $2 million against their cap? I mean, I guess there's like a luxury tax in MLB or whatever. There's no actual cap. They are exaggerating it. They are claiming that due process is needed before detainment, which would mean that you wouldn't be able to lay a hand on the person before a court date. No, I agree. I think they're manipulating it, but I don't even know what they mean. They say due process. What does that mean? So we can't arrest anyone without some... that's the thing. They're rage baiting. Doesn't make any sense. We have to... I mean... Trump was put in to deport illegals. That's what he's doing. There's like one or two mistakes out of a million. It's come on. You can see gators in the water. Well, yeah, I mean, it's AI. I mean, if the people think this is real, this thing would flood in a day. This is not. There's no hangars. This is supposedly a runway. You know, it's an obvious AI. That's a fake horizon. No. You're putting words in my mouth on solar. Listen, obviously, you know, this is not a Republican opinion, but we don't have to rely on solar. All you have to do, solar is it's a diversification of energy. You know, you want to have legitimate and renewable. How do we get the most sun hours in the world yet we don't utilize it to a proper degree? That would be my opinion. But no, you know, with solar it charges batteries and then you can have it all 24/7. Yeah, the batteries cost money, but overall it's a cheap form. I mean, China's not going to do it and not going to line their fucking mountains with solar panels if it was expensive. Turn on a live feed. Trump is speaking in Des Moines right now. The thing is, if I go to Trump, I mean, it's just gonna be like you really can't comment on it because it's just him speaking. I mean, I'll see clips of it. I'll go to clips of it with Trump. Supreme Court said it was okay. Yeah, no, the deportations are now they're deporting people to South Sudan, they said, and it's allowed. So they've allowed self-deportations there.
No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on social. Front row Joe. We got a lot of front row Joes here. That's very nice. No tax.
Yeah, I'm gonna get copyright for that. Trump coming on stage though. Sure, have solar, but get rid of all the subsidy. If it can't compete with fossil fuels, oh well. But fossil fuels gets tons of subsidies. That's the problem. So if you're going to give a ton of subsidies to fossil fuels, obviously it's going to be hard for solar to compete with that if they don't have any subsidies themselves. This is the point you hate about subsidies. What, subsidies on renewable? What do you think about subsidies on fossil fuels? Is Trump a top 3 president of all time for you? I mean, you know, but my ranking of presidents, it's based on warped historical knowledge. You know, I think ranking presidents is very challenging. I'm going to rank presidents from the early 1900s, really? Like how well am I going to do at that? Like, you know, I mean, sure, you can say all the ones that everyone says are the best, but it's like there's just very hard to gain perspective on the time frames and time periods of ranking presidents. But Trump certainly and recently has done a ton, but like happy 4th, keep the good stuff coming. I appreciate that. Mean Gene, thank you for the $20. You think wind and nuclear account for 20% of our grid? You're fine with that. But 7,500 credit for an EV car, was it good? Can you imagine trying to trade an EV the next 4 years? They're already... Yeah, I mean, EVs are sitting at dealerships. A lot of them are. But, I mean, that's trying to encourage, you know, the electric vehicles. And I'm not saying, you know, they need to do that for Tesla or anything, but... Robert, thank you for that. Trump wants 2 times energy output for AI data centers. Thoughts on Steve Bannon beef with Elon? It's not surprising. I mean, that Bannon was like, you know, Trump like abandoned Bannon, and I guess they had lunch recently, but you know, Elon kind of took over, and so Bannon was angry about that, and obviously now Elon and Trump have this beef, and so Bannon is gonna, you know, be like, I told you so to Trump. Do you think anything big will happen tomorrow in regards to the Iran situation? I don't know. Is there something that's supposed to be happening? The only thing I saw was Trump said Iran was ready to talk, whatever that means. But I don't know if there's anything going to be happening tomorrow. I haven't seen anything on Iran. Who's your girlfriend? Can we see her? No, I don't have a girlfriend. Oh, man. He's giving deduction on interest for U.S. cars. Yeah, I heard about that because I was talking to people about buying a car. The domestic cars, there's a deduction on the interest payments. The most recent times, you'd say Trump is the best last 20 to 40 years. But Dems think Obama is the GOAT for some reason. Well, he was a statesman. But they're always going to, think Obama was better than Trump. I mean, it's just partisan politics. But obviously, Trump has made just a massive mark. I mean, you can't even deny, even the whole thing with January 6th and the fear-mongering about that, and that was the supposed thing that was going to destroy his legacy. He has that January 6th, and then he comes back and wins every swing state, and he wins the popular vote. Think about how crazy that is. After they made that big deal about January 6th, the next election, after they said, oh, Trump lied about all the illegal, the election being rigged and all this, then he wins by a bigger margin than he did in 2017. Anything on the Trump-Putin phone call today? It didn't go well, Trump said. Trump said it didn't go well. They made no progress. I don't know. I think, Russia, at this point, it seems like they're not happy with the amount of land that they would annex. I guess they want more land. They want more assurances. I'm going to have to read back up on that situation. There's been all this stuff with Israel, Iran. But I would assume they probably want more land for the amount that they've expended. Why are all big cities dumps? It's just unchecked immigration. All big cities are very liberal. So it's just a combination of negative things, very soft on crime, highly densely populated areas, heavy globalist immigration. It's not a good combination. Will the Trump administration ever declassify the Vivek beach photo? That would lose him the governorship in Ohio. They can't do that. Yeah, it's just a constant thing with I don't even know. People, they like that photo for some reason. Little social cohesion, little incentive to keep things respectable. Well, it's not even if it's an incentive to keep things respectable. They obviously don't care. Especially when you're dealing with densely populated areas, there has to be an etiquette standard, is what I call it. Especially with, when you have highly densely populated areas, there's a lot of people that have to use public transportation. So the etiquette of a citizen, it's important that they take that upon themselves. These people coming from these third world countries, they don't give a fuck. Brandon, you mean this with the sleeper cells that were being talked about? Keep up the good work. Oh, you're talking about maybe? Yeah, I haven't heard anything about that recently, but who knows? I mean, the thing with with politics, we all have a very short attention spans. Everyone moves on to the next thing, so people are off of Israel, Iran for the time being. I'm not saying they should, but this is just how it is. So who knows if the sleeper cells or something happens? I mean, certainly imagine if it happens, it'd just be terrible, because then we get back into another war with Iran. Joseph, I appreciate it. Thank you for the $50. Keep up the good work on here. My go-to guy for news. I appreciate that, man. $50. Yeah, I've gotten some bigger donations. I really have. I've gotten, the last stream I got a few $100 for donations. This stream I got $100 donation, a few $50 donations. Mean Gene, thank you for the $20. Want to see the results of the Democrat policy? Simply look at our big cities. Case closed. They run them into the ground for 50 years plus. Yeah, and it's just a bunch of negative combinations. I mean, it's immigration, many different cultures, no onus on assimilating. There's no onus on assimilating to anything. Are you gonna watch the Gold Cup final? No, this soccer. What is it? USA versus Mexico. Someone was saying. No, I'm not gonna watch that. I'll watch the World Cup though next year. The United States when they play probably. Yeah, but we you have to understand we import a bunch from China anyways in terms of other goods. Even with these tariffs on China, we're still reliant on China because they produce things for cheaper. If we could make solar panels cheaper, that would be great. But they have the infrastructure to do it, and they have the resources to do it right now. We don't have them in terms of the materials that you have to have. Check the betting markets. I mean, I guess, hopefully the US wins. Elon forms new party within 1 day, only 13% chance. Oh, remember Novak Djokovic? I love Novak Djokovic. He used to be the best tennis player of all time. Now it's these no names now. I used to watch Wimbledon when it was Nadal, Federer, and Djokovic. But now they got all these no names, and it's like, just let Djokovic win. Just let Djokovic win. I don't watch tennis anymore. Brandon, thank you. I'm way more trustworthy than any of the bullshit national news the country is force-fed. No, yeah, I agree 100%. I'm pretty non-biased, honestly. Hey, where's this soccer match or whatever? Soccer? FIFA Club, that's not even the World Cup. USA, Mexico. USA, Mexico win in regulation. Wow, it's very close. Novak is an anti-vaxxer. Yeah, that was a good moment when he came out against that. The lunacy. The lunacy of this dude who's got 8% body fat. Ew, you got to get a vaccine. Yeah, I think he'll be fine. How do we square Greenland-Ukraine minerals deals when the U.S. has tons of rare earths, but it's refining that's needed? Yeah, but think about it. I mean, we don't. When you look at the rare earths, I thought I dropped that. That was about to shatter that glass. But Greenland still has, even just on the island, they estimate 50% of the total rare earths that we have on that small. Well, it's a bigger island, but relative to the United States, they've got 50%. So they've got massive rare earths. Yes, we have rare earths as well, and it has to do with refinement. But they've got a ton of rare earths, and it's going to be even more plentiful. And also, we could do the refinement on Greenland. Maybe. I don't know if it would cost more. Yeah, I don't watch CNN or any of that stuff. I don't really watch TV much, just because I don't have a. I took the TV out, but I still have one, but I don't watch it as much. Like, the only thing to watch on TV would be professional sports, like live games. Or, I mean, I guess if you're watching like some type of. But like YouTube has kind of replaced it in a way for me. Mean Gene, thank you. Did you hear the early report about China shipping 20,000 fake driver's license into the U.S. that the FBI intercepted? Yeah, no, I heard something about China doing some things and in manipulating the 2020 election. I don't know if that's what it was, but I've heard about China doing some things, yes. Any news on Russia, Ukraine? Honestly, I might just look it up because I haven't seen recent news outside of Trump saying that today. This is like a recap. Russia seizes field. I wonder if they have an actual update. Do they have a map update? Yeah, I don't know, man. I've heard a peace deal is probably unlikely. Trump says Putin call yielded no progress on ceasefire. Russia will not back down on Ukraine war goals, Trump tells Putin. When was this updated? I wonder, this map. Yeah, see, they don't even have full control of the 4 oblasts. Well, they've got the 1. Go to your For You page. New York City Muslims turn on Mondani over pride support. Oh no.
Be touching me as a Muslim woman. Get off of me. You just witnessed that and you didn't do shit. You should be ashamed. In the Quran, it says that there will be hypocrites. Hypocrites who believe in Allah and say that they are Muslims. But you know what makes them different? They side with the oppressors. You cheer on AOC. AOC side in support of the Iron Dome, and yet you glaze her. You praise her. You should be ashamed, you hypocrite. They are continued to be brutalized for protesting against genocide every single fucking day, protesting against graduations, and you still haven't said shit, but you will condemn direct actions against Zionist settlers. Have some damn shame. How do you pray every single day to Allah?
Yeah, well, you can't please everyone. Man, he just got told off by a Muslim. I mean, we're really doing this. They're really trying to get Trump on Mount Rushmore. What, on like the front face? Thoughts on Cleveland pitcher getting suspended for gambling on his games? Yeah, and it was micro bets. Like, the first pitch of the second inning, is it going to be a ball? And apparently there was a lot of activity on certain pitches, and you can tell that he was spiking them on purpose. So it's Ortiz, I think, Luis Ortiz. I saw that. But it's going to happen more and more. You can bet on everything. You bet on everything, you're going to deal with stuff like this. If it was just like a few pitches, though, I wonder what they would do with them. Because that's a very, small thing. But if it's probably widespread. Thoughts on 2008, 2012 elections? A symptom of the Middle Eastern wars, a symptom of W. Bush. How are you doing tonight? I'm doing well, man. How's your cat? My cat's fine. Who wins right now, Trump or Obama? Obama's lost a lot. Trump would win. I mean, there's a lot to it, obviously, but Trump would win. Chris Christie on Mount Rushmore. The mountain would collapse. You live in Illinois and Pritzker is taxing the shit out of you. Yeah, people have to really understand how bad these liberal taxes are in highly populated liberal states. I mean, the tax rates are like 56%. 56%. I mean, sometimes it's over 60% and it's not even that much money. It's like, oh, over 100K, it's like 50%. Seriously? You think Obama would win? I mean, but it's impossible. But the thing is Obama's lost a lot of support. I mean, just judging Obama off of 2008, 2012, he definitely would be hard to beat. But it's a different time period now. What do we need for crypto to take off this year? Well, what about the crypto month, the crypto week? They're saying, knowing crypto, it's probably sell the news. But they're hyping up this crypto week in mid-July. They're saying it's going to be a big week. They're talking about the Genius Act. They're talking about the strategic reserve and the stable coins. And so we'll see what happens with it. But listen, the crypto is taking off. My meme coins, some of my meme coins are starting to rustle up a little bit, at least a few of them. Some of them are still in a slumber. Some of them are still in a nice slumber, a nice sleep. They'll be awoken at some point. When the money gets dumped into the alts, I mean, money's going to have to pour it. The Bitcoin dominance has to go down. It's inevitable. It has to happen at some point. Crazy to think Clinton is the second best president in 50 years. Yeah, I mean, the whole Clinton stuff, and I understand as we get further and further away, people look more fondly on it because, in the 90s, I mean, that was a Democrat, but nowadays he'd be like a moderate. But, he didn't really have any crazy adversity, like any crazy Middle Eastern war or anything. He had a relatively peaceful presidency. I mean, so there's other things that impact that as well. What kind of stocks do you invest into? Well, I'll probably be definitely creating a big portfolio, but a very stable portfolio, I would say. And we'll see what I end up, that's probably going to come within the next year or two. And it's going to be big, big, big. Hopefully if I make good money off of crypto, a lot of it's going to be, put into some good assets in the stock market. Some of it, I would say this with crypto, you keep some of it in crypto, you take out some of it's got to go to fiat. I like having money. And then the other part of it goes into treasuries and S&P, NASDAQ, whichever one I end up choosing. And, I want to make a 6-7%, return. Or maybe, what is the average NASDAQ 100 return? I know it's more volatile, but isn't like 10%? All the current Dems that might go against Vance in 2028 would lose to him in a debate. Yeah, but the debates are kind of meaningless. The debates are like, they're not as important as people say they are. Because I mean, I know it's like drama and stuff, but a lot of the times the debates have very little actual effect. Especially considering the debates are, they have the debates and it's like 2 months before an election. They'll forget about the debates, or it's obviously the Biden debate was very important, but you can't expect that from the next Democrat to go into a debate basically drugged out, half sleeping, half drunk. I mean, that's when the debates become meaningful, when one of the candidates can't function. 8 to 10%. Got into Apple at $181 a couple days after Liberation Day. Yeah, well, there was a lot of panic selling when that happened. A lot of lower prices. What's the message on the Diddy verdict? Well, the message is there's a lot of powerful people that didn't want that to get spiral out of control. And then there's multiple people getting charged. And if there's heavy charges against Diddy, they'll look for other people that were involved, and they've kept it lower now. They're trying to make it go away. Thoughts on 100% portfolio being Dogecoin? Am I doing it right? Yeah, I mean, Doge is, I think Doge could do a 4 or 5x still. What is it at, like 20 cents? What was the father doing with the kid on the cruise? Yeah, that was very bad. They, just very, you can't put your kid up on a rail like that. I mean, that's, luckily he was able to jump in after her. You felt like the Vance-Walz debate had a big effect for him. Yeah, I mean, I also think Vance is very good at, he's a very good talker, you can tell. He can articulate well, and also Walz was extremely nervous. I mean, Walz was out of his league. It was very obvious. He could barely talk. He was very nervous. You could tell by the way he was, just by the way he looked scared when he was debating Walz, because it's a huge moment. He's making legislation to protect longtime farm and hospitality workers. You guess mass amnesty, GG. No, I don't think it's not mass amnesty, but it's not good. I'll agree with you there. Do you think there was any jury tampering with the Diddy trial? Yeah, I mean, it's just speculation, but it seems like it was headed a certain way where there were going to be a bunch of charges and then everything gets dropped. And there's a lot of people that were involved in that. And just the charges were really weird, too. It's like, they charged him with a transportation of something, but then they didn't charge him for the actual crime. It's very strange. Thoughts on the DEI purge, the tech DEI purge? Yeah, I mean, I hate DEI. They try and manipulate and say DEI is not what you think it is. It's a quota system. That's what it is. It's the same thing with colleges. Same thing, affirmative actions in colleges. Certain amount have to be. Of course, what else would it be? It's like, we're just giving other people chances. No, that's not what it is. It's 20% of your workforce has to be this. It's diversity quotas. And it's encouragement on it, and so hopefully they get rid of them. I don't know. Imagine the riots if Trump was put on Mount Rushmore. Well, you have to wonder how long would that take to actually, because it took a while for them to carve out the 4 presidents. You have to wonder how long that would take. But I mean, it's one of those things to where it's like, let's wait for Trump. Let's just wait a little bit. Why is Trump so stubborn about using Truth versus Twitter? LOL. No, it's because the only way Truth is social is his that's his company. So the only way it obtains any value is by him staying on it. Originally I thought he was locked into some type of deal, but I think that's his through some type of Trump media or something. And so, of course, he's going to remain on it. And it is what it is. I mean, because he'll tweet massively long paragraphs, and he could just do that on X, but it just gets screenshotted. It's kind of funny. Everybody screenshots it and then just puts it on X because they have to do it. Why does CNN say stocks will go down? I mean, they don't like Trump. Stocks will go down because people are getting tax breaks. At least fossil is domestic. Yeah, but I mean, if you look at the numbers, maybe I'll do a video on it. I don't think people would like the video, but I mean, long-term sustainability, you need renewable. You ever eaten a hot dog at a baseball game? Yeah, you remember, I haven't gone to a baseball game in a while, but I used to go to games when I was younger. Dollar Dog Night. The hot dogs were good, but It's like fast food type food. What's the Views reaction to the big beautiful bill and jank yogurts? Yeah, I don't know. They're probably angry. Jank has been a little bit more. He's praised Trump on some things. It's funny to see the liberals go against him when he does it, but I don't know. They're probably melting down. They just talk about Medicare the entire time. You need help with crypto. You have yet to pick a winner. Well, I would just, if I were, I don't know how big your portfolio is, but you need to condense it to a few coins and just go in. And it depends. Do you want utility? Do you want an AI coin? Layer 1? Meme coin? Real world asset? Yeah, the bill got passed. The bill is passed. It got passed earlier today. They just buy from China and pocket billions by outsourcing. Yeah, well, it's easy. The material for the panels are easier. They're cheaper in China. This is the common thing that we have, a problem that we have with China. Look, if we invested a bunch of money in infrastructure on developing them here, I don't know if we could bring the price down that much. Maybe. But I believe in terms of what's required is minerals for that, and we don't have refinement for that setup. I don't believe right now. I mean, maybe that'll change in the future. You just want 1000x. Yeah, if you want 1000x, you probably gonna. I mean, it's very hard because you're gonna have to risk it heavily with a coin that's very low in market cap. If you want 1000x, I mean, you probably shouldn't be gunning for 1000x. It's just it's extremely challenging. Yeah, I know. I saw Joe Rogan. Any Elon tweets? Not that I saw, but I haven't really looked recently. I mean, I looked like an hour ago. But yeah, Rogan came out. He's like, "Oh, they shouldn't be deporting these people." So he's already. I mean, he is a moderate. But it's like, obviously this is what we were always going to do.
You expected some of this, but this is better than expected?
Yeah, Sarah, it is.
Oh, how can this be? Trump destroyed everything. How did we add all of these jobs? And think about what's happening now. The foreign jobs are going down significantly, like 300K every month. And the domestic jobs are up like 500K. And the part-time jobs are going down. The full-time jobs are going up.
Look, this jobs market is like the Energizer Bunny. Every single time we expect it to run out of steam, it just keeps going and going. So these new numbers show that the U.S. economy added 147,000 jobs in June. That was well ahead of the expectation of about 118,000, well ahead of some whispers that we heard on Wall Street of a sub 100,000 number. So this is indeed beating expectations. We were also expecting a slowdown. We did not get that. This is basically in line with May, which was revised higher. It's also good news. The unemployment rate was expected to go up. It didn't. It went down to 4.1%. That is a very healthy number. This is still relatively historically low. And again, it's below the 4.3% that we had expected.
You expect.
How many G's in your crypto portfolio? I'll tell you what, in March of 2024, during that AI run, I had a good looking crypto portfolio. It fell off, but it'll go back up. I mean, even CNN has to admit that he is short, or how tall is the woman? He looks like he's about 5'5" or 5'6" if I had to guess. But I don't know. They're outsourcing from China instead of setting up manufacturing with the subsidies like China did. Yeah, I mean, but think about the material that's used for those panels. I mean, there's battery packs, and a lot of that is I think minerals from China. So I mean, there's certain things you can't really build infrastructure if you don't have the proper minerals to actually produce it. I don't know. I'd have to do a video on it to really look into the production of it. But I said, well, why not just build the world's biggest solar panel farm in Yuma, Arizona? I mean, we would get more use and better use out of it than the Chinese. There's no place on earth that gets more sun hours than Yuma, Arizona, and even the surrounding area. And I know they already have a big solar panel farm there, but I mean, the Chinese just build them as far as the eye can see. They just build them. It's just insane. And you just put them in the desert and they just eat all the sun. That 6-minute CNN clip with the Baldy basically glazing Trump was crazy. Yeah, that was a really good clip. And the thing is, it was 6 minutes long. It was 6 minutes long, and it was just all this stuff that Trump was doing, and there's a lot of really good stuff. And it's going to show up eventually in the economy, and then it'll show up in the approval rating, I believe. It'll show up eventually in the approval rating. I mean, you can never fully estimate it because we don't know with geopolitical stuff, but Benny Johnson and Charlie Kirk went off on them the other day, retweeting their posts and replying to them the other day, bitching. Who? CNN? The minerals are not from China. The minerals are from Africa. Yeah, that's an issue. They fucking control all the minerals. China controls a lot of the minerals in Africa. So it basically, by proxy, is from China if it's from Africa. I mean, it depends, but they were able to get into, and it's just bad extortion. But it's like, well, where's the racism against that? I mean, they freaking control cobalt. How do the Chinese control the supply of cobalt? Because they really ransacked the Congo and gave them a bunch of bullshit projects, and the Congo obviously can't pay it, so we got to take something from you to repay it, and we're gonna take all your minerals that you have. DJ, thank you for that. When the bill gets signed into law, when does it go into effect? Next year. Yeah, it goes into effect. I've seen some things that doesn't go into effect till October of next year. I think it depends on the thing, but it's next year. If it weren't for Trump, you think Republicans would have just kept getting crushed? Well, they were probably going to go with Cruz. I mean, if Trump wasn't there, Cruz, because I don't think Jeb would have stood even without Trump in the picture. I think Jeb was just, there's no way he would have been the nominee, even with the donor money. They would have had to gone with Cruz. I think they wouldn't have picked Rubio at that age. But who knows? If Russia-Ukraine ends and the rate cuts come, Trump is a legend, might seal 2028. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens, but there's certainly, I mean, the rate cuts are going to happen. We know that. It's just a matter of when. Please do Q&A part 2. Yeah, I mean, I could do another Q&A at some, but maybe in, not for a few weeks, I'd say. For another Q&A. Isn't Trump getting cobalt? Yeah, that's what I asked. I don't think so. I asked about that because I was like, what are we getting back for this? I mean, there's got to be, but they don't even have control of their own cobalt. Seriously, like China has the control of the cobalt in the Congo. And so it's like, well, how do we get that? But I heard there was potentially going to be some type of deal even before where we were going to get, they said like $24 trillion worth of rare earths from the Congo. I don't know what happened with that. In exchange for us either brokering a deal and then the deal happens, but I never heard about us getting any cobalt. you just don't launch a party. No, you're absolutely right. It has to get approved. There's a huge process in terms of getting even on ballots and stuff. Yeah, he's from South Africa. Yeah, he's calls it the America Party. He's from South Africa. He's extremely rich. That's not how like a party rises. It's inauthentic for Musk to do that and try and create this party. You're gonna be writing in Massey in 2028. But you understand Massey's a grifter himself. I mean, I get you're against Israel. Yeah, I understand. But Massey grifts, and a lot of it's inauthentic with Massey. He's like he's a character now. That's what Massey is. He has to go against Trump on everything. He says he's just obsessed with Jews the whole time, and that's what it is. What's the obsession with granting these farmers and hotels illegal amnesty? It's the first time. Well, the reason is because a lot of these farms, they go to these farms and it's every one of their workers is illegal. So if you take all of their workers, the farm is not going to be able to operate. That's what I think it is. I mean, nobody expected there to be this many illegals within all, the farms and the hospitality. It's crazy. They're just shocked by the amount of illegals. And so these farmers are like, well, these people have been working here 10, 15, 20 years. They don't commit crimes. And they're undercut paying that. They're paying them under the table. They're paying them nothing. They pay them $10, whatever. So they don't want to pay an American $20 to do this tough manual labor. This is something that has to happen. These people have to go. The farms are going to have to adopt or adapt to a new way. And, you get some technology. You're going to have to spend some money on some technology. We have to get these people out of the country. We don't have a country. We allow these people to stay in the country. It's a non-negotiable. But Trump obviously got lobbied. There was behind-the-scenes stuff. The farms freaked the fuck out. The Farmers Association, all of it. They said this can't happen. Our entire employee base is illegal. So how do we replace that during the season? It's just not. They say it's not realistic. I don't know. Unknown, what's up, man? Why isn't Rwanda, Congo peace more in the news? Because people don't care about the center of Africa. I mean, think about India, Pakistan. Nobody cared about that. Pakistan said they were on the verge of using a nuclear weapon. Still nobody cared. These normies, it takes a lot. And the U.S. has to be really involved for it to be real mainstream in the United States. Sam, thank you. You know what? I'm happy it's not about the main meetup. The main trip, I thought it was going to be about Maine. But it's Israeli state-run media. Who would have thought a channel that did a 363 team March Madness bracket would come to this? Remember that? Yeah, remember that bracket? Go look at my controlled demolition video. Sounds like a structural issue in the U.S. maybe. Well, it's an issue in terms of them getting high on illegal supply. Literally, they hire these illegals for extremely cheap. They're able to generate significant profit margins because they don't pay their employees anything because the employees are illegal. So they want to still make those profit margins. They're not going to be able to do that. They have to hire people that are actual Americans that are going to demand higher pay. It's like an H-1B problem. These companies, they don't want to have to get rid of their H-1B programs. They can extort a lot easier labor for less money just by getting foreign work. When are you gonna finish that bracket? That bracket, that bracket. In another life, that bracket would be finished. In another life. You're saying Iran paid for the comment? No, you gotta say Qatar. You don't have to give them amnesty, give them work visas. It doesn't matter. They're gonna. It's basically a appeasement to illegals. The base is not gonna like that. It doesn't matter if you give them amnesty or work visas or whatever you say. You know, that's not a good look. Elon seems completely cooked at this point. I don't know. It's impossible to understand Elon. He's very bipolar. He could come out tomorrow and say, "All right, you know, let's." But I don't know, man. You know, I tried to listen to him during an interview where they interviewed him about the bill, and it was almost like he couldn't even talk about it. He was so angry. He was like, "I just don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it." They're trying to like, "Well, Elon, what about this? What about that?" He's like, "No, we don't even need EV subsidies. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. It adds to that." And then they should be like, "Well, Elon, you do realize they're just extending the taxes and." I mean, they're doing things that Trump said he was going to do. So what's the problem? Odds the idiot gets elected in New York, probably pretty good because it depends how many people drop out. You know, if the Republican candidate drops out, if it's just Adams against, if it's just Cuomo against Mondani, if it's just Adams against Mondani, I think Adams or Cuomo win. Because Mondani, I don't think has the total support. He doesn't have any Republican support. He doesn't have any minority liberal support, believe it or not. Now, maybe that'll change going up against, you know, a Republican, if that's how it happens. But if it's Adams against Mondani, I think Adams would win. Because Adams would probably get the minority liberal support. Will you ever visit UAE or Qatar? I mean, I wouldn't mind visiting them, but I'm not. You know, it's very hot weather. But obviously, you know, I never visited there. You disagree comparing H-1Bs to illegals? H-1B has salary requirements, and they're at least limited. Illegals work for way less minimum wage and destroy the community they live in. I actually think H-1B is probably worse because H-1B, those are higher quality jobs, and they take them away from American citizens that invest in degrees. But I mean, it's hard to really quantify either of them. The impact, you know, you'd have to compare. I mean, the H-1B is a big program, and there are some, I guess, really good workers, but it's like, no, I mean, the dual citizenship is not a bad thing. The dual citizenship, you know, there shouldn't be dual citizenship. You need to pick the United States. But even these people, they'll pick the United States and they'll just be a lie about it. But yeah, dual citizenship should go away. H-1B jobs, not necessarily higher quality jobs. In most cases, yeah, they're going to be way higher quality jobs than farm work. But you're right, there are some H-1Bs that are low quality, which people were shocked by. But it's very rare. It's very rare they're that low. Because there's different requirements for it. Will you do a moon landing video? Yeah, I mean, a moon landing video would be interesting to look into that. I mean, I've looked into it briefly. It's a disgrace we still haven't gotten anything on Thomas Crooks. It's almost a year. Yeah, the 13th will be a year. Tariffs on the 9th going to cause the market to crash. No, the tariffs, there might be a little bit of a scare, but it's not going to be anything like the Liberation Day issues. You know, the ones that the thing is they're going to come to deals with all the major countries that are important. They're going to come to a deal with the maybe outside of Japan, if you consider Japan important. I think they're going to come to a deal with India. That'll be announced in the coming days. The EU deal, the European Union deal, will be announced in the coming days. So if you're talking about like Cambodia, and I think there'll probably be a deal with Brazil as well. If you're talking about smaller countries, I don't think that's going to cause a shock in the market if they get tariffed at a higher rate than expected. I mean, what do you want? You want Eric clips? I mean, it's what even is there?
And every branch of the U.S. military is setting records for new enlistments. You know, remember a year ago, it was embarrassing. They couldn't get anybody to go into the military. They couldn't get anybody to go into the police or fire departments. They couldn't get anybody to go into government. And now we just set a record, a new record of enlistments in every single branch of the military and in all police forces. 1 year.
You know, that's a very good metric to show that, I mean, this is patriotism. This is people that love their country. You get someone like Trump in, and now people want to serve their country. It's a good metric that nobody talks about. Can already see Trump's Thomas Massey primary ad. Just put up Massey flip-flopping yesterday on the procedural voting. Yes, no, yes. Yeah, very odd that him flipping like that.
The reconciliation bill today was a big, giant leap forward. Yeah. But we're going to do this again. We're going to have a second reconciliation package in the fall and a third one in the spring of next year for the next 2 fiscal years. And we're going to have rescissions packages. The White House is sending us collections of items to claw back the spending that was wasted in fraud, waste, and abuse, and we're going to appropriate at lower levels. The Republican Party is the party to get us back to fiscal responsibility. We can't do it overnight, though, Raymond. It took us a while to get in this situation, but we are on the right track, and the president is committed to it as well.
Tom Homan. And we're working on legislation right now. Susie, right? We're working on...
Did you see this story about Macron's wife's surgeon? Dude, did you hear what Candace Owens said? Candace Owens said, she's like, you'll never believe this, but this is what I was told. She said, the reason there's not a ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine is because the French are holding it up, because Macron apparently is telling Candace Owens to stop reporting on his wife, and then the ceasefire can go through. Yeah, that I saw that on YouTube. I was like, oh man.
On legislation right now where farmers, look, they know better. They work with them for years. You had cases where, not here, but just even over the years, where people have worked for a farm on a farm for 14, 15 years, and they get thrown out pretty viciously, and we can't do it. We got to work with the farmers and people that have hotels and leisure properties too. We're going to work with them, and we're going to work very strong and smart, and we're going to put you in charge. We're going to make you responsible. And I think that that's going to make a lot of people happy. Now, serious radical right people, who I also happen to like a lot, they may not be quite as happy, but they'll understand, won't they? Do you think so? Madam Secretary, look at you with a white hat on. Do you think they'll understand that? You're the one that brought this whole situation up.
Yeah, well, that's Trump basically just saying deal with it. Yeah, I don't know what she's talking about by saying that. Come on. How would the French even have the power to do that? The real reason is because I won't do another car vlog. I'll vlog my move. Any news on Tulsi? I haven't seen any, but I haven't looked up any news on Tulsi. But I don't think there's any big news on Tulsi. You know, there's a bit of a issue with her within the administration, so we'll see if that gets worked out. Radical far right, yeah, it's not good verbiage for Trump. That was so shitty for him to say that. What just happened? What Trump just said? Trump just said, suck it up, basically. That's what he said. Why wouldn't they boo? Well, you know, these are... You're not going to boo Trump at his own rally. But I understand, you know, it's not a good look. Brazil's president's a left-wing loon that hates Trump. Yeah, but when you're negotiating trade deals, it's sometimes that doesn't necessarily... You can still get a deal done. Trump's verbiage right now is irrelevant. He's getting the Triple Crown. Yeah, I know. You know, people are just gonna nitpick him though for saying that. And then the radical thing is not a great look. What do you think of Laura Loomer saying she wants to send 45 or 65 million people to the alligators? I don't know. Did she say that? Is that how many people she said is illegal in the country? 65 million? People just kind of make up numbers out of their ass. Who knows how many illegals are in the country? But liberals are getting really angry about that alligator Alcatraz. I didn't even know it was a thing until, you know, they talked about it. But it was like they built it in 2 days. I mean, that whole thing was almost like just randomly it's built. But, you know, Benny Johnson visited it. And, you know, he got this, like, souvenir hat. And then they were like, oh, you're a terrible Christian for, you know, cheering that on and stuff. And I guess they were mad at him. Why not just give them work permits? Well, I mean, that's something they can do, but it's still seen as appeasement, you know, to illegals and going against your base. I mean, it's one of those things to where you want to make it work, and obviously there's a lot of these people working in farming and hospitality that the industry would be, I guess, affected pretty severely. So they're trying to make it work. Yeah, I think they should have to wean off of them at least. Benny Johnson's clickbait thumbnails are getting to Mr. Beast level cringe. Well, I mean, yeah, the one with AOC is just, I mean, they get pretty bad. I was watching one, you know, it was like this AI slop thing at the beginning of the video with him and it was Trump. It was after the ceasefire got announced, and it was an AI video of Trump and Khamenei, the leader of Iran, skipping through the desert. That was the beginning of the video, and I was wondering. I was like, I guess it's the intro. I was laughing. It was just I didn't expect it. Who's going to pick the crops? Farmers and their ranch paying $1 a day. I know. Well, you have to weed them off of it. That's the thing. But yeah, you would hardline again. You would want Trump to be kind of hardline against that. But obviously there's some donor money at play. There's some coaxing. Yeah, guys, like the stream. Like the stream. I'm trying to see what the temperature is right now. It won't go to it. It's like at the bottom of my... It's like at the bottom line area. Go to the temperature, please. What do you think the punishment should be for companies found hired illegals? Well, I mean, I think it depends on the situation. If the entire industry is built on illegals, it's and you punish all the companies, it's a problem. If the entire manual labor, I mean, look at these construction sites, man. I mean, I almost don't believe some of these construction sites, and you almost think it's a skit. But I mean, these are like Mexicans running, and they'll show the video, and it's 30 Mexicans at it, or 20 Mexicans maybe. I don't want to overestimate, but it's legitimately like 15 to 20 Mexicans at a construction site running because they're like, ICE is coming. That's at one construction site. I mean, that's an entire labor force for a job site. Dude, I gotta find that. I'm black. That was a while ago. Well, it was like a few weeks ago. "90% of new construction houses are built by illegals." Yeah, we got to get more carpenters. We got to get more U.S. carpenters, man. It's like you figure that's a problem, you would address it, the government would address it, but they just keep using this illegal labor. Now they've entrenched, this is the thing, and this is how Democrats are able to argue this. It's like now we're reliant on illegal labor, so we can't deport them because we're reliant on them. Well, no, there should be a self-correction. There should be Americans trained for these jobs, so we have the American workforce to be able to do this. And it's a bigger issue. It comes down to the birth rate problem. Well, we're not producing enough kids, so we have to bring in other people. We must bring in the other people. Will rent go down once illegals are deported? Rent is specifically, but it's based on certain cities and the demand of land and things like that. It's more real estate. It's look at the rent in Texas. It's gone down significantly because they built up a bunch of properties. The rent in Florida's gone down like crazy as well, from what I heard. But the rent in Tennessee is a mess. It's high demand, not a lot of building, or maybe a lot of building but a ton of demand. Yeah, one place I don't think I would. One place that you would never want to go. You don't want to go to Tennessee. Tennessee is like, at this point, people are saying it's overpopulated, and it's too much with Tennessee. But like Tennessee was the hip place to move if you were, if you're a young conservative, you want to go to a bigger city. It was Nashville. Would a Stream Clips channel be worth it? I don't know. I don't think I have the relevance for it. I mean, the Stream Clips channel would just it would just be for me to watch back, because I'm not watching back these fucking videos. And well, dude, I'm just sick of this happening. I really am. I'm sick of this happening. This is when you don't have an Ethernet wired connection. You don't have an Ethernet connection. What internet provider do you have? AT&T? Now I'm gonna have to get a new one. Wow, we got fireworks going off. They're jumping the gun. Fireworks on July 3rd. You plugged in your Ethernet yesterday? Yeah, I gotta get it. Fiber internet? Yeah, I've heard of that for gaming. Yeah, I gotta get an upgraded internet, I agree. Are taxes complicated for a YouTuber? Yeah, I mean, I work with a company to do it, so my taxes are a little bit easier. But now I'm doing the whole thing to where you estimate your payments, so I pay every quarter an estimated amount. So it's basically normal, and then at the end of when it's tax season, I'll either owe 1,000 or owe 500 or maybe get back 300, but probably owe. But that's kind of how it's done. What's your first name? Patrick. Are you gonna stream tomorrow? I don't know. I'll see what I end up doing. I'm not sure yet. Does Musk launch his political party when Trump signs? That would be pretty funny if he did. I don't think it's gonna go anywhere. Why is your audio breaking up? You're gonna have to refresh the page if that's happening, if my audio is breaking up, because it's a YouTube thing. Tariff, the art clown. Yeah, I saw the first one. They made a few more, but that's, I guess it's the gruesome horror stuff. Man, I'm surprised how many people didn't know my first name. I feel like a lot of people knew that. Are you aware that some of your old subscribers know your full name? I don't really know how they would get that, honestly. I never said my full name, but I mean, I could understand, I guess, somehow people getting it. Favorite 4th of July food? I mean, I'm an American, I guess burgers. Any fireworks? I probably have to travel to. Actually, no. Sometimes there's fireworks around. There's fireworks all around the area. This is a decent, good suburb, and there's still a bunch of fireworks. Because it was your Twitter name, yeah. I mean, but it wasn't my full name. It wasn't my full name. I mean, but yeah, I could understand how you could get it from that. Going on dates with beautiful ladies anytime soon? Dude. I'm focused on my career. It would be the most stereotypical Irish name. Is that the most is Patrick the number one Irish name in the United States? I wonder if that is true. I'm really Irish. If you look at my mom's surname and my dad's surname, I'm very Irish. There's also some other, I'm like 99 Northern European. I don't even know what that means. Claim a few Trump baby accounts. What is that based on the Trump boomer meme? Where they turn him into a baby? You have no idea your heritage. Your family is just mutts from West Virginia. Yeah, you look up your surnames. You can kind of get an idea. How's your Thursday night going? It's going fine. What generation are you? Probably like 6. No, I don't know. I mean, it depends. I mean, probably early, maybe late 1700s. Thursday feels like a Friday. Yeah, I mean, because people have off tomorrow. Absolutely. You know, the days are all the same to me. Not really. I mean, they are different because of certain things, but you know, for me, it doesn't really feel much different. A little bit because I know it's a holiday tomorrow, but I'll still do videos tomorrow. I want to do a video on you know, if the U.S. territories became states. Most of them would be liberal, but I think it'd be kind of a fun video to do. The name of your first pet? What are you trying to get the security questions? Are they still accepting white Afrikaners? I don't know. I think they are, hopefully. Because I thought they said they were going to accept a bunch of them, but they only brought in about 59 from that initial wave. Your family's been here since the 1600s. I really got to make sure I know the history of that. I think it is important. But a lot of them came in the early 1800s, mid 1800s too. What is the vote on keeping Latinos here? Feel like that's a serious discussion not being had. What are you talking about? Illegals? Illegal Latinos? You're American. I mean, it would depend on your heritage if you're more American than me. Did you see the Nesh D'Souza debate, Nick, on Infowars? Yeah, I did see some of that. How do you like your steak cooked medium well? We need hot Latinos to stay. I don't know about that. I saw that proposed. That's not a serious thing. Worst case scenario for big beautiful bill. Well, I think it would probably be inefficient use, meaning ICE doesn't deport a ton of people, you know, for the amount of money that got spent on the deportation effort. I think if it's inefficient, then that'd be a problem because obviously they're investing a ton of money into it. So I think that'd be probably the biggest thing. I mean, the tax cuts are the tax cuts, right? They're going to help the economy. It is just the reality of them. Now, long term, you can say it's an issue if the revenue doesn't get generated through the economy. Yeah, they do tend to hit the wall really quickly, Latinos. No, I am actually going to end it. That is going to do it for the stream, guys. What's your favorite snack? My favorite snack? I mean, I used to eat a lot of Pringles. I haven't had many in a while, though. All right, guys. Happy 4th of July. Happy 4th of July. I eat steak with A1.